Hi guys, how you doing? So if you remember, in the previous lesson I've given you a brief overview of auto layout. The examples that we have worked on were pretty easy. However, as your app UI becomes more complex, you will find it more difficult to define the layout constraints for all UI objects. Starting from iOS 9, Apple introduced a powerful feature called stack views that will make our developers' life a little bit simpler. Indeed, you no longer need to define auto layout constraints for every UI object. Stack views will take care of most of that. So in this lesson, we will continue on discussing UI design with Interface Builder, and I will teach you how to build a more comprehensive UI, which you may come across in a real-world application. First things first, what is a stack view? The stack view provides a streamlined interface for laying out a collection of views in either a column or a row. You can group multiple objects together so that they can be moved or resized as a single object. Also, you can embed multiple UI objects into one by using stack views. As a side note, for views embedded in a stack view, they are usually known as arranged views. The stack view manages the layout of its subviews and automatically applies layout constraints for you. That means the subviews are ready to adapt to different screen sizes. Furthermore, you can embed a stack view in another stack view to build more complex user interfaces. Sounds cool, right? Let's first take a look at the demo we are going to build today. I will show you how to lay out a welcome screen like this using stack views. Right? Again, there is no coding in this lesson. We will just focus on using Interface Builder to build an adaptive UI. This is a crucial skill you will need in app development. Enough talking, let's get started. Okay, now fire up Xcode and create a new Xcode project. Under iOS and under Application, choose Single View App and click Next. You can simply fill in the project options as follows. So the product name is the name of your application. So I'm gonna call it Stack View Course EN for the English version of the tutorial. Theme, just leave it as it is. Organization name, it's the name of your organization or your first and last names. Organization identifier, it's actually the domain name written the other way around. Bundle identifier, it's a unique identifier of your app which is used during app submission. You don't need to fill in this option. Xcode automatically generates it for you. Okay? We'll use Swift to develop the project. And concerning the last three options, just let them unchecked. Okay? And then click Next to continue. Xcode then asks you where to save the Stack View course project. Pick a folder on your Mac and then click Create to continue. As you may notice, the sample app has 3 images. The question now is how can you bundle images in your Xcode projects? In each Xcode project, it includes an asset catalog for managing images and icons that are used by your app. So right now, go to the project navigator on the left side, which is represented by this gray area, and select the assets.xcassets folder. By default, as you can see, it's empty with a blank app icon set. By the way, we are not going to talk about app icons in this lesson, but we'll revisit it after building a real-world app. Right now, I want you to download this image set. I put the link in the description below and unzip it on your Mac. Okay? The zipped archive contains a total of 5 image files. iOS supports 2 categories of images, raster images and vector images. Common image formats like PNG and JPEG are classified as raster images. Raster images use a grid of pixels to form a complete image. One problem of raster images is that it doesn't scale up well. Increasing the size of a raster image usually means a significant loss of quality. This is why Apple recommends developers to provide 3 different resolutions of images when PNG is used. In this example, the image files prefixed by user3 comes with 3 versions. The one with add3x suffix, which has the highest resolution, is for iPhone 6, 7, 8 Plus and iPhone X. The one with add2x suffix is for iPhone SE, 6, 7 and 8, while the one without the add suffix is for older devices with non-retina display. Vector images usually have file types such as PDF and SVG. You can use tools like Sketch and Pixelmator to create vector images. Unlike raster images, vector images are comprised of paths instead of pixels. This allows the images to scale up without losing any image quality. Because of this feature, you just need to provide a single version of the image in PDF format for Xcode. I intentionally include both image types in the example for illustration purpose. When developing a real-world app, you usually work with either one or the other. So which image type is more preferable? Whenever possible, use the images in PDF format. The overall file size is smaller and the images are scalable without losing quality. To add the images to the asset catalog, all you need to do is drag the images from Finder and drop them into the set list or set viewer like this. Once you add the images to the asset catalog, the set view automatically organizes the images into different wells. Later, to use the image, you just need to use the set name of a particular image. Now that we have bundled the necessary images in the project, let's move on to the creation of stack views. So first, open main.storyboard and change the view as iPhone X, like this. Okay, we will start with the layout of 2 labels. Before starting, you must know that stack view can arrange multiple views, known also as arranged views, in both vertical and horizontal layouts. So first, you have to decide whether you want to use a vertical or horizontal stack view. In our case, the title and subtitle labels are arranged vertically. Therefore, vertical stack view is a suitable choice. From the object library now, drag a vertical stack view object to the view controller in the storyboard, like this, and drop it. Next, drag a label from the object library and put it right into the stack view. Like this. Once you drop the label into the stack view automatically embeds it and resizes itself to fit the label. In the Attributes Inspector, change the title to Farouk Academy, like this. The font size to 45 points. Change the font style to medium. And finally, change the text color to burgundy. Perfect. If necessary, replace manually the stack view in the center of the screen by first clicking here, and then you just manually place it into the view controller. Now drag another label from the object library to the stack view, and before releasing, make sure there is a blue line with written stack view. As soon as you release the label, the stack view embeds the new label and arranges the 2 labels vertically. Okay? Also verify that the 2 labels are well placed inside the stack view like this. in the document outline. Now edit the title of the new label and change it to Learn iOS Swift Programming, like this. Okay? As you can see, currently both labels are aligned to the left of the stack view. To change its alignment and appearance, you can modify the built-in properties of the stack view. Select the stack view in the document outline and you can find its properties in the Attributes Inspector here. Okay? Let's briefly talk about each property of the stack view. The Axes option indicates whether the arranged views should be layout vertically or horizontally by changing it from vertical to horizontal, like this. You can turn the existing stack view to a horizontal stack view, but we don't need it. Okay? The alignment option controls how the arranged views are aligned, and the distribution option defines the size and position of the arranged views. By default, it's set to fill. In this case, the stack view tries its best to fit all subviews in its available space. If it's set to fill equally, the vertical stack view distributes both labels equally so that they are all the same size along the vertical axis. Okay? For our demo app, we just need to change the alignment option from fill to center, like this, and keep other options intact. This should center both labels. Before moving on to the next section, make sure you position the stack view correctly. What I mean is that the stack view should be in the center of the view controller, and maybe we can change its Y position to 80. At the very beginning of this tutorial, I mentioned that there are two ways to use stack views. Earlier, you added a stack view from the object library. Now I'd like to show you another approach. We are going to lay out the three user images. In iOS, we use image views to display images. From the object library, look for the image view object now and drag it into the view, like this. Okay, and then just release. Once you added the image view, select the Attributes Inspector here, and then the image option already loads the available images from the asset catalog. Simply set it to user 1, like this. In the size inspector, set the width of the image to 100 and its height to 134. Okay, now repeat the procedures to add two more image views simply by copy-paste the first image view and then place them next to each other, like this. Okay. And then set the image of the second and third image view to user 2 and user 3 respectively, like this and like this. You have to know that using stack views minimizes the number of layout constraints you have to define, but it doesn't mean you don't need to define any other layout constraints. For the image views, we want each of them to keep its aspect ratio. Later, the size of these images varies depending on the screen size. We want them to retain their aspect ratio no matter they are stretched or squeezed. To do that, in the document outline view, Control drag horizontally on the image view of user 1, like this. In the shortcut menu, select aspect ratio, and we are going to repeat the same procedure for the other two image views. Now I want to group these three image views together using a stack view, so it will be easier to manage. However, we will use an alternative approach to create the stack view. Hold the Command key and click the three image views to select them. Then click the Embed in Stack button in the layout bar. Interface Builder automatically embeds the image views in a horizontal stack view, like this, okay? Now, to add some spacing between the image views, select the stack view in the document outline, and then, in the Attribute Inspector, set the spacing to 20, here, like this. Also change the distribution option from fill to fill equally. Perfect. It seems that the stack view has already distributed the image views equally. Why do we need to change the distribution to fill equally? Remember that you're now designing the user interface for all screen sizes. If you don't explicitly set the distribution to fill equally, iOS will lay out the image views using fill distribution policy. It may not look good on other screen sizes. Okay? Now you have two stack views, one for the labels and the other for the image views. Here. These two stack views can actually be combined together for easier management. One great thing about stack views is that you can nest multiple stack views together. To do that, select both stack views through the document outline view by pressing Command key, and then click the Embed in Stack button to embed both stack views in a vertical stack view, like this. Perfect. After that, make sure that the alignment of the new stack view is set to fill. Right? This size of the stack view increases as the screen size grows. By setting the alignment property to fill, this ensures that the image views are resized automatically on larger screens. Cool, right? So far, the UI looks good on iPhone X. But if you preview the user interface on other devices by going to the multiple devices screen, like this, I'm putting some other devices like this. It doesn't look as expected. The reason is simple. We haven't defined the layout constraints for the stack views yet, okay? Okay, now click the pin button in the layout bar here and set the space constraints of the top, left and right side to 50, 10 and 10 respectively. When the constraint is enabled, it's indicated by a solid red bar. Like this, here, okay? Then click the Add 3 Constraints button to add the constraints. Perfect. Once you added the constraints, Interface Builder automatically repositions the stack view to the correct position that conforms to your layout constraints. Okay, now if we try to preview the interface on other devices, they should look pretty good. However, you may notice one issue. On the iPhone SE device, the Farouk Academy label is truncated. So how can we fix the issue? It's quite obvious that we can decrease the font size of the label. Xcode provides an automatic way to adjust the font size on the fly. Now select the Farouk Academy label, go to the Attributes Inspector and set the Auto Shrink option to minimum font size and the value to 20. Okay? By doing so, you tell Xcode to determine the suitable font size for the label such that it can perfectly be displayed. As you can see, the label should be fully displayed even on iPhone SE device. Cool. There is a label right below the images that we haven't added yet. I intentionally left it out so that I can show you how easy you can add an object to an existing stack view. Okay? So right now, in the object library, drag a label object to the stack view holding the other two stack views. You will see a blue line that indicates the position of the insertion point, like this. Next, select the new label, go to the Attributes Inspector and set the text to the following. Create your own iOS app. Register now. The labels are too close to the images. To add some space between the text and images, select the stack view and change the spacing from 0 to 10 in the Attributes Inspector. Okay, now go back to the new label and we are going to change its alignment like this. Perfect. Now the UI looks pretty good. As you can see, stack views save you from defining constraints for the new label. It just inherits the constraints that you have defined earlier. But we haven't finished yet. Let's continue to lay out the two buttons at the bottom of the screen. First, drag a button from the object library to the view. Like this. Double-click the button to name it Sign Up. Okay. In the Attributes Inspector, change its background color to burgundy, like this, and the text color to white. Cool. In the Size Inspector, set the width to 200. Here. Next, drag another button to the view and name it Login with Facebook. Login with Facebook. In the Attributes Inspector, change its background color to burgundy and the text color to white, and set the width to 200. Again, you don't need to set the layout constraints for these buttons, just let the stack view do the magic for you. Hold the Command key and select both buttons, like this. Then click the Embed in Stack button in the layout bar to group them in a vertical stack view. Next, center manually the stack view horizontally. To add a space between the buttons, select the stack view in the document outline, and then in the Attributes Inspector, set the value of spacing to 10, like this. Okay. Select the stack view that you just created, click the Align button in the layout bar, check the horizontally in container option and click Add one constraint. Like this. Next, to add a spacing constraint, click the pin button and set the value of the bottom side to 20. Here. Make sure the bar is in solid red. Click Add one constraint to add the constraint. One thing you may notice is that the button is narrower than expected. As you embed the buttons in the stack view, they are resized to its intrinsic size. If you want to set the width to 200, you will need to add a width constraint to the stack view. In the document outline view, control drag from the stack view to itself and choose width to add the constraint. To change the width to 200 points, select the width constraint of the stack view in the document outline view. Like this. In the Attributes Inspector, change the constant to 200. The stack view now has a fixed width of 200 points. It's time to test the app again. You can preview the user interface in Interface Builder or run the project on different devices. Your user interface should look great on all devices. But I prefer to go on the multiple devices view. And as you can see, the user interface is perfect on every device. Cool. But do you notice the message create your own iOS app, register now, is truncated on iPhone SE? Let's try to fix it. First of all, we are going to close this view, okay? And we are going to select the label in the document outline view, okay? Like this. Then we are going to the attribute inspector and we are going to change the auto shrink option to minimum font size. We can let the value to 9, okay? So normally right now if we try again, it should be good, okay? So as you can see, the label is well displayed on the iPhone SE device. Perfect. Okay, now that we have already built a nice user interface using stack views, let's test the layout in landscape orientation, okay? So if you turn the iPhone simulator sideways like this, it looks a bit weird on iPhone. There are a couple of things I want to customize to make it look better. So first, I want to move the whole stack view a little bit closer to the top edge of the view. And then the images are too big and the middle one is overlapped with the button. But please keep in mind that all the changes above are applied to iPhones in landscape orientation only. So how can we do that? So this leads to a new UI design concept known as adaptive layout, introduced since iOS 8. With adaptive layout, your apps can adapt their UI to a particular device and device orientation. To achieve adaptive layout, Apple introduced a concept called size classes. This is probably the most important aspect which makes adaptive layout possible. Size classes are an abstraction of how a device is categorized depending on its screen size and orientation. You can use both size classes and auto layout together to design adaptive user interfaces. A size class identifies a relative amount of display space for both vertical and horizontal dimensions. There are two types of size classes, regular and compact. A regular size class denotes a large amount of screen space, while a compact size class denotes a smaller amount of screen space. By describing each display dimension using a size class, this will result in 4 abstract devices: regular width, regular height, compact width, regular height, and compact width with compact height. The table below shows the iOS devices and their corresponding size classes. So, to characterize a display environment, you must specify both a horizontal size class and vertical size class. For instance, an iPad has a regular horizontal size class and a regular vertical size class. For our customization, we want to provide layout specializations for iPhones in landscape orientation. In other words, here are the 2 size classes we have to deal with. So the first one is compact width and compact height, and the second one is regular width and compact height. But you don't need to remember the above table. In Interface Builder, you can find out the current size class in the configuration bar. For example, when iPhone X in landscape orientation is selected, it shows view as iPhone X WC-HC. WC-HC means compact width and compact height. So with an understanding of size classes, now go back to main.storyboard. Okay, now select the spacing constraint between the top anchor of the safe area and the top side of the stack view. In the Attributes Inspector, click the plus button next to the constant option. Select any width, compact height, and any gamut, and add variation. Then set the value of this size class to 15, like this. As a side note, here any width means both compact and regular width. By doing so, the space between the stack view and top edge of the view will be decreased when the iPhone is turned sideways. Preview the UI in Interface Builder. You should notice that spacing constraint only reduces its value when the device is an iPhone in landscape mode, like this, okay? So now let's take a look at the second issue and see how we can reduce the size of the images when iPhone is in landscape orientation. Okay, you're not only allowed to provide customization for constraints, Xcode lets you specify the size class specific property for stack views. Select the root stack view here, which is the one that holds other stack views. In the Attribute Inspector, click plus next to alignment and add a customization. Choose any width, compact height, and any gamut. Then click Add Variation, like this. This lets you provide a customization for the alignment. Set the HC field to center, like this. This means that in landscape orientation iPhone only, we will keep the alignment as center so that the image will not resize, okay? Now try to preview the UI again. It should look much better on iPhone landscape. Okay? But there is still an issue with the Create Your Own iOS App Register Now label on iPhone. It's covered by the button. Okay? One way to resolve the issue is to hide the label for a particular size class. In other words, it won't display the Create Your Own iOS App Register Now label on all iPhone devices in landscape orientation. This is a new feature in Xcode 9. You can now even customize the appearance of a view for a particular size class. Now select the label and go to the Attribute Inspector. So here is the label. Then we're going to the Attributes Inspector. Scroll down until you find the hidden property here, okay? Then click the plus button beside it. Choose any width, compact height and any gamut. Then click Add Variation, like this. Tick the new hidden checkbox so that the label will be hidden on the iPhone devices in landscape orientation. That's it. Now we can see what it looks like on the multiple devices view. Okay, like this. And as you can see, our UI is perfect in portrait orientation. And if I turn it sideways like this, it looks also perfect. But as you may notice, in the landscape orientation for the iPhone SE device, the images are still overlapped by the buttons. So what can we do to improve the UI? Actually, we are going to decrease the spacing constraint between the bottom anchor of the safe area and the bottom side of the stack view. Okay? So first of all, you are going to click on the constraint, spacing constraint, and then here we're going to click the plus button next to the constant option, select any width, compact height and any gamut, then click Add Variation, and finally set the value of this size class to 5, like this. And now if we go back to the multiple devices view, as you can see, even on the iPhone SE device, the UI looks perfect. That's it for today. Thanks for watching this series till the end. I know it's been a long journey, but I really wanted to show you the importance of stack views. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel for upcoming videos. I see you soon, guys. Bye bye.